Congratulations, you've been approved for the OPT. You've got the long-awaited EAD card in your hand with valid date, but unfortunately, you don't have a job offer yet. What do you do? Because unlike your US peers, you don't have the luxury of job hunting at a leisurely pace, or even better, taking a well-deserved extended break post-graduation. Rather, what you've got is a ticking clock, and yes, I'm talking about the unemployment days on OPT. This is a topic that leaves many F1 international students scratching their heads. Understandably, the confusion is real, and that's why in this video, I'm going to break down what you need to know about unemployment and OPT, ensuring you navigate this aspect of your OPT with confidence and clarity. So let's dive in. Quick disclaimer though, this video is an educational guide to OPT rules and should not be taken as personalized legal advice. If you need personalized counsel, it's best to invest in an experienced immigration attorney. So what's the deal with OPT unemployment? As an F1 student in possession of an EAD card with a valid OPT authorization, you're not allowed to accrue more than 90 cumulative days of unemployment during your time on post-completion OPT. And in the case of someone with the STEM OPT extension, you're not allowed to accrue more than 60 cumulative days of unemployment. If you exceed the 90 days of unemployment on OPT or the 60-day unemployment limit during STEM OPT, not only might you jeopardize your current F1 status, but your future immigration status in the US could also be at risk. But to understand unemployment on OPT, we first got to understand what is considered employment on OPT. Employment on OPT is generally defined as any form of activity, whether paid or unpaid, that's one, related to your field of study, and two, you engage in this activity for at least 20 hours per week. And yup, just 20 hours per week, but there's more. Now, the activity is considered as employment by USCIS, while on post-completion OPT could be in the form of a standard paid employer-employee relationship with one or more US employers, working for an employer through a third-party agency, work for hire as an independent contractor, unpaid employment which could take the form of a volunteer or an unpaid intern, and self-employment as a business owner. But again, I've got to stress that for all these types of employment, the work performed must be related to your field of study. So as you can see, all you're required to do to stop your unemployment clock from ticking is to be engaged in a minimum of 20 hours per week in any of the mentioned employment options. You see, the number one reason why many F1 students remain unemployed during post-completion OPT is because they focus exclusively on paid W-2 job positions. But if your OPT has already started, rather than accruing unemployment days while you wait for a full-time paid job position, you should seriously be considering alternative job positions. So the game plan is to do what you can in the meantime to stop your unemployment clock from ticking, and after that, you can then spend your time job searching for paid positions. So here are the three options that I recommend you pursue to stop your unemployment clock from ticking. The first option is looking into work for hire as an independent contractor. Now, this is also known as 1099 employment, where you receive a form called a 1099. As opposed to working in a company under an employer-employee relationship type of work, also called W-2 employment. Your next option will be to pursue work that falls under the category of unpaid employment. This could be in the form of a volunteer or an unpaid intern or trainee. Now, when it comes to unemployment though, you need to know that the US Department of Labor has very strict definitions of what volunteer work is. Generally speaking, you may volunteer services without pay for a non-profit organization, but you cannot volunteer services without pay for a for-profit organization. Now, these volunteer services are expected to be part-time, and they should be of a humanitarian, civic, or religious purpose. And ultimately, they must be done with no expectations of compensation of any kind before and after the completion of the service. So as you can see, this option is quite a slippery slope, which you must navigate with caution if you don't want to break any rules. The other option of unpaid employment is to seek a job as an unpaid intern or trainee, which, unlike volunteer positions, this allows you to work for a for-profit organization, as long as the unpaid position that's offered to you follows the rules set forth by the US Department of Labor. But the good thing about the unpaid internship route or working as a trainee route is that if you're very strategic, you could use this position to open doors for a full-time paid position within the company. Now, if those other options don't appeal to you, you can pursue self-employment as a business owner. Now, while you're allowed to set up a business at any time as an F1 student, you're only allowed to actively engage or run this said business during your 12-month post-completion OPT period. But again, as long as the activities you conduct in this business are related to your field of study. Now, some of the steps involved here will be registering your business as a legal entity and obtaining tax identification documents from the IRS, which you will be submitting to USCIS. Now, I dive deeper showing you how you can apply each of these alternative job search strategies and more in my course, the International Students Career Search Masterclass, which you can get at sojournerscholar.com/career-guide, linked in the description section below. Now, maybe you're watching this video and you find yourself in a very unfortunate circumstance where you're so close to exceeding the allowable number of unemployment days, and you don't want to risk violating your F1 status. US. So here are the other options that you might consider. Number one will be to enroll in a university program, which could be at the same educational level, say going from one master's degree to another master's degree, or pursuing a degree at a higher educational level, say going from a bachelor's degree to a master's degree. Obviously, the first thing here will be to get accepted into a program of study, and after that, you can request a transfer of your CV's information from your OPT sponsoring school to the new school or continue at the same school. And once the transfer of your CV's information is complete, which generally doesn't take that long, your OPT will automatically stop and you will no longer accrue unemployment days. Another option will be to change your non-immigrant status in the US. You can do this by changing from the F1 student visa to the B1 tourist visa or any other non-immigrant visa class by filing a form called Form I-539 with USCIS. You would also need to communicate your request to change your status with your school's designated school official. And once your application is received by USCIS, you will enter a sort of limbo status that's neither F1 nor the other non-immigrant visa class you're requesting. And in this limbo status, your OPT unemployment clock no longer applies. Now, if none of these options can stop your unemployment clock from ticking as soon as you need it to, your last resort will be to plan a departure from the US. And all you have to do for that is to inform your designated school official that you plan to cancel your OPT and depart the US. And once your OPT is terminated by your designated school official, you will be allowed a period of about 60 days called your grace period to plan your departure from the US.